Hello students, welcome you all. I am your lecturer VP sir. In this session we will discuss about very important terms, velocity as well as acceleration. Then what are the variables and differences between acceleration and velocities are going to be takes place. In here let us understand what is meant by velocity here. Velocity andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇವಾಗ. So in Kannada we can say that ವೇಗ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. In the sense what till so far we discussed that ಏನು ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂದರೆ what is meant for displacement. In the sense what the shortest distance is going to be takes place during a motion of an object. ಒಂದು ಬಾಡಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ಶಾರ್ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. If that shortest distances changes with respect to time interval ಆದರೆ what is that? So that is nothing but a velocity here. So velocity is nothing but the change in a displacement with a time interval here. So andre ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆದರೆ ವೇರೀಸ್ ಆದರೆ that is going to be called as what? Velocity here. It is mathematically expressed as v here. So v is nothing but the symbol of velocity. This can be represented as ಏನು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ it is basically having magnitude as well as direction. It is nothing but a vector quantity only. So therefore it is nothing but a vector quantity ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. So displacement, you can write change in displacement also, displacement divided by time here. So this will be the mathematical expression for velocity here. It is nothing but the displacement can be represented by x by t here. So therefore the displacement measured in terms of length is nothing but a meter, then time as usual measured in terms of second ಇದೆ. So ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಂದರೆ the most popular unit is SI unit is the velocity can be expressed in a SI unit is meter per second. In a Celsius we can write in terms of centimeter per second. As you know already, displacement and times are fundamental quantities. If they are multiplied together or divided together, the resultant is going to be takes place. That resultant concept is nothing but a derived quantity. So we come to know that velocity andre it is a derived quantity anta artha. So therefore it is a derived quantity. So dimensional formula for velocity is, so it do not depends on the masses, nothing but the motion of object takes place. So m naught L t raised to minus 1. This will be the dimensional formula for velocity here. But now question comes out. If a motion of an object, one that a body movement aglikatadandra, that motion of an object which covers equal displacements in a equal interval of a time, andre ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಥವಾ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಹಿಯರ್. ಏನಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್, ಏನು ಬರಿಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಏಕರೂಪದ ವೇಗ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಬಾಡಿ, ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ which covers equal displacements in equal intervals of time, intervals of time here. We know very well it is a vector quantity. So therefore it is a vector quantity. In the sense what? It has both magnitude and direction. Andre enandre, that is having magnitude and direction. So it is nothing but a uniform velocity here. But now question comes out. If a motion of an object covers equal displacement, when the body equal displacement anna equal time interval alli travel ಮಾಡ್ತು ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Suppose the same body or any body which covers unequal displacements in the same interval of a time, or vice versa, if which covers equal displacements in a unequal interval of a time ಅಂತ ಕರೆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಕರಿಬೋದು ನಾವು ಅಂದರೆ, obviously it varies with the physical quantity ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ, it is called as variable velocity. ಎಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ variable velocity ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿಬಹುದು. So variable velocity can be defined as, ಏನು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ, variable velocity is variable velocity. Here also using the same definition here. Motion of an object. ಒಂದು ಬಾಡಿ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೈತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ motion of an object which covers unequal displacements in equal time intervals, equal or same time intervals is called variable velocity. Or it is also defined as, or vice versa ಬರಿಬೋದು ನಾವು. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ a body can covers equal displacements in a unequal time interval ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is called as variable velocity, or you can say that vice versa. Okay, then after that need to understand what is the use of variable velocity. The advantage of variable velocity is to calculate, ಏನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಏನು ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ is to calculate average velocity. Then question comes out, what is meant by average velocity? It's very simple here. Average velocity is nothing but the motion of a body, the same definition, motion of an object which covers equal displacements. In the sense what? The ratio of what? Total displacement. It is nothing but it is the ratio of total displacement with respect to total time interval. Hence it is called as average velocity. So average velocity can be expressed as v average only, nothing but total displacement divided by total time. So it is nothing but average velocity. Displacement is nothing but the change of position from final to initial. So therefore x2 minus x1 with respect to time interval t2 minus t1, it is overall represented as delta x upon delta t. It is nothing but average velocity. But now question comes out. If a motion upon an object which covers displacement in a particular time interval, say ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಂಥ ವೇಗ ಅನ್ಬೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಂಥ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಕರಿಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಂಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಂಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ. So instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity. It is the limiting value of a time ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಟೈಮ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಏನು ಕರಿಬೋದು ಸರ್ ಹಿಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್, ಅಜ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವ, ಹೀಗೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಧ್ಯನೂ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದ, ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಪೊಸಿಷನಿಂದ ನಾನು ಈ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಅದ. ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆದರೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನಂದರೆ ಈ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಶಾರ್ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿನಿ, ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಯಾವುದು ಐತಲ್ಲ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ನಿಯರ್ ಟು ಝೀರೋ ಬಟ್ ನೆವರ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಝೀರೋ. But that is why the instantaneous velocity is also called limiting value ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹೀಗಾಗಿ we can define as, ಏನು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂದರೆ the time rate of change of displacement of motion of an object, or you can say that particle ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದು. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಅ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಸರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ದ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಟಿ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಝೀರೋ ಅಂದರೆ delta t 0 ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲ, in the sense what the time interval is near to 0, approaching to 0 but never be a 0 value. So therefore delta x upon delta t ಅಂತ ತಗೋತೀರಿ. It is represented by dx upon dt. It is also called differentiation equations ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Is equations of what calculus ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So therefore this is the expression for instantaneous velocity. Here also ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೆಜರ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಟೈಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬೋದು. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ದ ಎಸ್ ಎನ್ ಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ತಗೋಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಯಾವುದಂದರೆ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ, ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ, ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ, ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಂಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ is it possible to differences between speed and velocity? What are the main differences? What are the main similarities between velocity as well as speed? So here the differences between are the table for speed as well as velocity here. So differences we know very well. Speed as well as velocities are both physical quantity, but it is having only a positive value ಇರ್ತದೆ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಆದರೆ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಒರಿಜಿನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್, ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ. We know very well speed, it is a physical quantity. It is a physical quantity. Of course, it is also physical quantity. It is also physical quantity. But thing is that it has both magnitude as well as direction. Andre, it is simply a vector quantity anta anbodu. It is only having a magnitude values. Andre, it is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity. It is a vector quantity. Vector quantity. Then the speed can be defined, the distance by time interval. Distance by time it taken to take a motion of an object. Here it is only focusing on shortest distance between the 2 points. So therefore displacement upon time taken. But the similarity is both are having same SI unit as well as dimensional formula. So therefore meter per second. By this you can write many differences for velocity as well as speed also. So after that, if a motion of an object covers displacement in a time interval, we simply call it as velocity. If velocity changes with respect to time interval, what is that quantity? What is the name of that quantity? It's very simply, it is called as acceleration. Acceleration, nothing but there will be a change in the velocity, because velocity is a physical quantity, it's a vector quantity which may changes with respect to time interval. So it is simply called as acceleration. So therefore acceleration is defined as acceleration the change in the velocity. The motion of an object takes place. So during motion, that motion of an object changes with respect to time interval. Velocity of an object changes with what? Time interval. So therefore, for a motion of an object, changes with velocity by time interval is called as acceleration. It is represented by ಏನು ಕರಿಬಹುದು ನಾನು? A, nothing but velocity, or you can simply call it as change in velocity by time. Now question takes place. If object is at a starting point, what is the velocity of that object? That velocity is called as the initial velocity, where time interval is set to be 0 irutade. So initial velocity can be represented as u, and finally is called obviously it is called v only. So therefore u minus v divided by t2 minus t1. So this will be a expression for acceleration. So after that, assume that we know very well what is u, baba. U andre is nothing but initial velocity. What is that initial velocity? Starting velocity andre eno? If a motion of object is not in a motion, ready to move from the position, that time interval is set to be a 0. Avaga time interval ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 0 ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ರೀಸನ್ t1 ಈಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್ as 0 ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ t1 equal to t2 equal to t ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ದಿ ಇಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ರೀಅರೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಿಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂದರೆ v minus u divided by t only, because t2 equal to t1 equal to t, where t1 equal to 0 ಆಯಿತು. Suppose t is going this side, at equal to v minus u, and finally we can find out the equation as v equal to u plus at. So this will give us what? A relation between a velocity, that is a final velocity, as well as a initial velocity with respect to acceleration by the time taking interval anta helabodu. So this is also one of the important equation we will study further here. So therefore then question comes out, Is it a physical quantity? Yeah, of course, because velocity is also derived quantity and time also called as a fundamental quantity. If they are multiplied together or divided together, we'll get new equation. That new quantity is going to be called as a derived quantity anta karibodu. Then what about SI unit? The SI unit is very simple. The SI unit of unit is obviously velocity measured in terms of meter per second and time measured in terms of a second. It goes numerator, it becomes meter per second square. We come to know that ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ it is a derived quantity, it is not a fundamental quantity. Then it is nothing but a dimensional formula is m naught L t raised to minus 2. This is the dimensional formula for acceleration, and overall it has magnitude. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ದಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ as well as directions ಇದೆ. So there nothing but a magnitude ಇದೆ. So therefore it is a vector quantity. Vector quantity. It may positive, it may negative, it may be zero also. I will tell you the when it is going to be positive, when it is going to be negative. I will discuss here now. When motion of an object is said to have a positive acceleration, when motion of an object said to have a negative acceleration, what are the requirements for a positive acceleration? We know very well the change in velocity by time is nothing but the acceleration. So velocity changes in the sense what? There may be change in the initial as well as the final velocity ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. So I will write it once again. A equal to velocity by time here. The equation is v minus u divided by t2 minus t1 here. Now question comes out. What is positive acceleration? ಯಾವಾಗ ಇದನ್ನ ಕರಿತೀರಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ acceleration ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ when ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ when motion of an object having a greater final velocity. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕರಿಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಸಲರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಸಲರೇಷನ್ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಿಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂದರೆ ಎ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ವಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಯು ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ t2 minus t1. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ v is what a greater, then only the acceleration is said to be as a positive acceleration ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು ನಾನು. It is a reverse case ಅಲ್ಲಿ what is negative acceleration ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it's very simple here. When a motion of an object takes place, of course motion ಕಲಿಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ motion of object ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಸಲರೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ here also motion of an object takes place. Motion of an object takes place. During a motion of an object, the initial velocity is to be greater compared to or lesser initial velocity ಬರೆದು ನಡೀತದೆ compared to final velocity. So this is nothing but a negative acceleration. ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, if velocity of an object takes place, if during a motion of an object which covers equal velocity in equal intervals of time anta adre, the such quantity is called as uniform acceleration. I will repeat once again. During a motion of an object which covers equal velocity in equal intervals per time anta adre, that is called as uniform acceleration. If a motion of an object covers unequal velocity in a vice versa equal intervals per time anta tagondre, that is called as what? Non-uniform, or you can say that variable acceleration anta karibodu. The variable acceleration is to find the average acceleration of an object. It's very simple. Average acceleration can be defined as, it is used to determine the variable acceleration. Hege? So therefore, average acceleration is nothing but average acceleration. Change in the velocity. Change in a velocity by time interval. So average acceleration is represented by A is equal to delta V upon delta t. So this will be average acceleration. If a velocity is changes in a particular time interval, hence that is also called as instantaneous acceleration, also that is also called as limiting value. Instantaneous acceleration can be defined as the rate of change of velocity with respect to time interval agittu andre, velocity may changes in a particular time interval, very small interval per time. It near to zero but never be a zero. The simple equation is A equal to limit delta t tends to 0, delta V upon delta t, nothing but dV upon dt. So this will be the formula for average acceleration. We know very well, instantaneous acceleration. Average acceleration is to calculate, naಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, I will repeat once again, is to calculate variable acceleration. Now the acceleration equation can be expressed in terms of displacement also, that is called a second order differential equations. In the sense, we know very well velocity is going to be defined as, there will be a, that is simply called instantaneous velocity. ನಮಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ V equal to dx upon dt. It is nothing but instantaneous velocity. In the sense what? The rate of change of displacement by the time interval. But we know very well acceleration is nothing but dv upon dt here. I'm just replacing the v value here, then becomes d upon dt. Then v is dx upon dt here, and d into d, it becomes d square x divided by dt square here. Say a. So therefore acceleration or instantaneous acceleration is equal to second order, or it is also called successive differentiation of a second order anta karitare. Second order derivatives of a displacements anta kuda ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So this is about acceleration. Okay, after that these are the equations which can express acceleration here. Till so far we discussed about velocity, types of velocity and mathematical expression for velocity and all. After finishing velocity, we discussing on acceleration and types of acceleration and what are the SI units and dimensional formulae for acceleration and what are the mathematical terms for acceleration. We'll discuss in the next classes. Thank you.